A big hello and welcome to all the Planner Mums, Glam Mums, and all my subscribers. Hope each one of you are doing well. I'm well and hope the same for each one of you. So, today I'm coming on to you with my quick haul, which I recently had for the Twilight series. I have, when I was, I think, in college. I think college last year. I was like 21 that time when I first read the first book, which is Twilight 2006 2007. So that's when I'm talking college second year. So that's when I read the first book, Twilight, and then followed by New Moon. I think that was my first, other than the Dracula movie I had seen. So this was my first time I saw or read a romantasy with a vampire in it. So that was the first, and then after that, of course, I watched Vampire Diaries. That was one of my favorite series. But this book, Twilight, is the one that started my love for it. And then I think the movies came and I watched all of them in theater, and I was crazy about this movie. So finally, and I did have the hard copies also, but again, when I was leaving Dubai, I had given it off. These are like young adults, so they are not very spicy, but the tension, and if you have, this is a spoiler free review, but if you have not read, don't know about the Twilight, they have a full like 5 movies with this, and it's been 20 years since these books were released. So they also have another book, which is Edward's Point of View, which also I have, which is Midnight Sun, which I have not read. So the first book that I would be reading is Midnight Sun, and I'll put a review of it. But I thought let's reread these light young adult books as well, which I was young when I read these books. So it was my first young adult books. Like lot many people read Court of Roses and all. They had young adult, but for me, Twilight was my cup of tea. I had them in my Kindle already, but this is some book I really want to keep with me because in future I have my daughter, so she can also read. And I think these books are, I think, easily 16 plus. Kids can start already reading these, so it should not be a problem at all. And yes, so this is the Twilight series in my Kindle as well. So this is I have the app in my iPad, which is more easier to show. So I have the books already. I also have there is this the lady, what is her name, there is another retelling, the short Second Life, that book as well. So I'm going to do a quick what's in my Kindle. I just had a haul video soon, but let's go for this Twilight. So this is a love triangle between Belle, the Twilight, Edward, and I forgot what was and the wolf. I forget his name, but yes. So they were Team Jake. So there used to be Team Edward and Team Jake. So I was always Team Edward. I liked him for sure the most. So let's go quickly through the book. I had got it from Jareer. Now, there's a bookstore here, and I like the cover. It has a pomegranate for the midnight sun. So let's go through what's at the back of the cover. This is a very short read and very easy read. I think 16 plus can be a good age to start reading this Twilight series. That's when I'll give my daughter. Oh, it's okay. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how dominant that part might be, that he thirsted of my blood. And the third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. When Isabella Swan moves to the gloomy town of Fox and meets the mysterious, alluring Edward Cullen, her life takes a thrilling and terrifying turn. With the porcelain skin, golden eyes, mesmerizing voice, and supernatural gift, Edward is both irresistible and impenetrable. Up until now, he has managed to keep his true identity hidden, but Bella is determined to uncover his dark secret. What Bella doesn't realize is the closer she gets to him, the more she is putting herself and those around her at risk. So this is the part 1 of the book. This is Bella's point of view. Before, they didn't have these point of view. This was third person talking, but now they have the different point of view, which is more fun. So when Edward Cullen and Bella met in Twilight, iconic love story was born, but until now fans have heard only Bella's side of the story. At last, readers are experienced Edward's version in the long awaited companion novel, The Midnight Sun. This unforgettable tale, as told through Edward's eyes, takes on a new and decidedly dark twist. Meeting Bella is both the most unnerving and intriguing event he has experienced in all his years as a vampire. As we learn more fascinating details about Edward's past and the complexity of his inner thoughts, we understand why this is defining struggle in his life, how he can justify following his heart if it means leading Bella into danger. So if we had read the book, we know already what happens between Belle and Edward and what he does. So this is the first book, and the retelling both point of views. The next book is New Moon. I think in this starts when the, what's his name, I keep forgetting, I hope Jake, yes. For Bella Swan, there is one thing more important than life itself. It's Edward Cullen. But being in love with a vampire is even more dangerous than Bella could ever have imagined. Edward has already rescued Bella from the clutches of one evil vampire. But now, as the daring relationship threatens all that near dear them, they realize their trouble may be just beginning. Edward, dazed, disoriented. I looked up from the shoot, I murdered when the paper sliced my finger. I pulled it out to examine the damage. A single drop of blood oozed from the tiny cut. It all happened very quickly. So this, I still remember reading these books, like when you're very young, like I started reading my first Mills and Boons when I was 16 and 17. Ever since then, I loved reading romances. It was my favorite genre to go, especially historical romances. So the spicy and all, I started reading. I'm 40. Then that's the time when I turned 40, I started reading more spice, dark romances, Rena Kent, stuff like that. But before that, I was always into Regency romance. But this and Nancy, when younger years, Mills and Boons and Barbara Cartland's, a lot of Julia Quinn's. When I was young adult, Julia Quinn's also I used to read. But I think this is a perfect book I recommend for like 16, 17 plus teenagers. They can start reading these. But even mommies like us who have read this when we were 20, 21, so it's always good. The next book after the New Moon is The Eclipse. Eclipse is Edward's soft voice came from behind me. He pulled me into his arms at once and kissed me. His kiss frightened me. There was too much tension, too strong, and itched the way his lips crushed my leg. He was afraid we had only so much time left for us. As Seattle is ravaged by a string of mysterious killing and malicious vampire continues for quest of revenge, Bella once again finds herself surrounded by danger. In the midst of all, she is forced to choose between her love for Edward and her friend Jacob, knowing that her decision has potential to ignite the ageless struggle between vampire and werewolf. With her graduation approaching, Bella has one more decision to make, life or death. But which is which following this is the next part. So this is, I think his name was Jacob, not Jake. Then the final is Breaking Dawn. Another book I had read when I was young is like that Christian Grey. Oh, which one is that? 50 Shades of Grey. I think I'm not that young. I was 24, 25 when I read. So that was also a little steamy, kind of a book. But yes, this young adult book, these books always remind me of the time. And I had read them. I started reading them, I think, when I was in my final year in the college, and then the first book, and then the second and the third I read it in 2009 when I went to US, and I was living in Breckenridge, Colorado, and it used to snow outside, and I used to be like, I used to I used to not go out a lot. I used to keep reading, and I didn't have a TV. I had a laptop, so I used to watch movies in that, and after coming back from work, I'll have some coffee or tea, and then I will just read all night. The next day go to work, and my husband, who was my boyfriend then, he used to live in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, and I used to live in Breckenridge, so there was in Colorado, so it was quite a long distance for us. So I had nothing much to do in the evenings, and it used to snow there like hell. So all I would do is take the whole Twilight series and read them and watch Vampire Diaries or something on the side. So those memories come when I read these books. And and me and my boyfriend just fell in love that time. So it was very new, 2009. So it was very fresh. So when you loved the one who was killing you, it left you no options. How could you run? How could you fight when doing so would hurt the beloved one? If your life was all you had to give, how could you not give it? If it was someone you truly loved. To be irrevocably in love with the vampire, in both fantasy and nightmare woven into dangerously heightened reality of Bella Swan. Pulled in one direction for her intense passion for Edward Cullen and in another by her profound connection with werewolf Jacob Black, she endured a tumultuous year of temptation, loss, and strife to reach the ultimate turning point. Her imminent choice to either join the dark but seductive world of immortals or pursue fully human life has become thread from which fate to tribe hangs. Now Bella has made a decision, starting change of unprecedented events just when the freight strands for Bella's life. I will not tell you who she chose, of course, I know, but I think it'll be a nice one. And I think this was published in 2008. See, and the first book was very early, I think. Yes, that's the time I started. Yes, 2007 I had read, so it was during that time. So it was very early books, and it's been almost 20 years. So 2005, it's been 20 years. We are in 2025, so 20 years. But these books, I think, have now, like, people are not that crazy about these books, but these were fun reads. They are not like literature great classic books, but for many of, especially us moms in 40s, these were our babies when we were growing. These are young adult books we loved, and I'm sure my daughter's going to read them. I would definitely buy her the Harry Potter also once she's 10. She started reading already. I am going to introduce, now she's 6, she's going to be 7 August. I'm going to introduce her to Enid Blyton, and after that, slowly she can start the Nancy Drews and Famous Five, then Nancy Drews at a later age, because I was in grade 6 when I used to read Nancy Drews. So still there, long way to reach these books. However, my love for books has definitely gone to her. She has her own big collection of books. Do leave in the comments if you want me to share. I would definitely be sharing some videos of hers. She sometimes wants to make them herself, but I told her I can, when she's a little bigger, then she can make her book reviews for her channel as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, and take care and stay blessed.